What's up again, guys? Yeah, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Dovahkiin, and welcome back to Project Toyota Rush TRD Sportivo. And before we begin, be sure to hit on the subscribe button for more great videos. Okay, it took a little bit longer than expected, 2 months and 21 days to be exact. But here we are, proudly past the break-in period of 1,000 kms. And I don't have to hold out on the gas pedal anymore. Just kidding, I'm already past that age of driving like a hoonigan. Anyway, here we are now at my dealership, TBP, Toyota Bikutan, Paranaque. And I just had to say that as it should be in stiff Filipino. Anyhow, besides the one in Santa Rosa, Laguna, before this was also a direct facility / plant of Toyota Motor Philippines. Then they turned it into a dealership, so everything here is supersized. I transferred the servicing of my NCP42 here more than 10 years ago from TMI, Toyota Makati. Cause besides being closer to home, again, it's big. Hence, they can accommodate more jobs simultaneously. And of course, most importantly, more parking. By the way, both TBP and TMI are directly owned by Toyota Motor Philippines. Alright, while the car is being serviced, I told my advisor that I'm running a vlog about it in my YouTube channel, and asked him if I could hang out in the workshop to take photos and vids. Without hesitation, he gladly invited me inside. By the way, you don't need to be a vlogger to ask your advisor likewise. I think they'd be happy to accompany you. You just need to ask. Okay, but pardon the shaking. My phone has a video stabilizer, but that morning, I simply had a few too much coffee in my system. What can I say? I was quite excited. Anyway, let's touch on the subject of engine oil. Basically, you can choose between 2 to 3 types, depending on what your dealership offers. Regular, semi-synthetic, and fully synthetic. On the semi, I don't know how often you should have an oil change, but for regular, it's every 5,000 kms. For fully synthetic, on the other hand, it's every 10k. Similar to my NCP42, I went for fully synthetic on the Rush, cause it has a ton of benefits against regular. And by the way, remember my AE111? Over the years, that one used regular oil. It's old, I know, but now, too bad, cause the long-term ill effects of using that kind of oil are becoming apparent. Okay, as per page 348 of the manual, the 2 highly recommended oil grades as per viscosity are these. And the second one is what they used, cause we don't have winter here. And yes, VW stands for winter. The value before winter is the oil's resistance to thickening / acting thinner when cold. And the one after in contrary is its resistance to thinning / acting thicker when hot. By the way, I recommend you to check out this vid from Donut Media for more info on this topic. The link is in the description. Okay. The club forum gets frequently bombarded by questions about the cost of PMS. So for the 1K, this is the breakdown of my bill. On a side note, I have this power card, but I have no idea if other dealerships have this. And this is only valid at TBP and TMI. Anyway, it grants you 10% discount on everything. Going back, the job should only include a few inspections and an oil change, which, needless to say, requires a new oil filter. But obviously, there's gonna be another job if they found something broken after inspection. Alright, labor is free. Next, the parts. 520 for the oil filter and the gasket. Next, the sublet of 358, which I think is for outsourcing a job. But in this case, it might be just the proper disposal of used oil or any other waste slash hazardous material coming from your vehicle. And of course, next is the 2.5K for 4 liters of fully synthetic oil. Now less the 10% power card discount and plus 12% tax, in the end, nearly 3.5K. By the way, if you want to know exactly which parts are due for inspection or replacement on a specific PMS, consult page 230 of your manual. Anyway, special thanks to my service advisors, Ms. Marvie Lalaguna and Mr. LJay Lagahuya here for their excellent jobs and making Trad's 1000 km PMS extra memorable. By the way, that's the name of my rush, Trad, because he came banging into our lives already in full TRD flair. But actually, the name was simply inspired by Brad, one of PewDiePie's video editors. Okay, so then I drove to one of my choice shops in the city, Copperblue in BF, and got myself a few treats. First is this PIAA Superior Bass Horn, and if it looks and sounds familiar, cause in my pilot episode, I've mentioned that my NCP42 is equipped with one. Now the Rush is too. What can I say? I like the fact that it sounds like an air horn. And speaking of loud air horns, this one doesn't fall short in that arena. Anyway, this is how it sounds. Now, we move on to the other subject of this vid, the K&N HighFlows. This performance air filter, which practically lasts a lifetime, is a must-have. And I don't even have to stress on it, because everyone knows that this product is a legend. And over the years, there are loads of very positive reviews about it. If you're a car guy and you don't know about this, you might have been living under a rock. Anyway, I have this as well in my NCP42, of course with a different part number and dimensions. And I can vividly recall my difficulty in its acquisition, because it was always out of stock. I learned from that experience. So for the Rush, I got mine early. Take note of the part number 33-3016. Also, this part fits a variety of makes and models. And among those, the Rush included, are very popularly selling vehicles. So most likely, we could be facing a shortage. Thus, get yours now. By the way, I also purchased a recharger kit to wash the one in my NCP42, because it's more than 2 years old already. And I'm not gonna do a vid on it because there's a lot of that here in YouTube. Though a sound advice on cleaning, don't over oil it. Okay, for those who aren't car guys, I'm gonna show you how easy it is to install. Alright, I'm certain you've noticed that this vid leans more on the side of performance. But for this final segment, let's mix in a little bit of aesthetics. LED lights for the interior, that is. But before that, I just want to be clear that this clip is outdated, because now I have my LTO license plates. which was released a month ago, April 6. So from February 15, the date of purchase, that only took 1 month and 22 days. But that's normal for cars purchased this year, 2019. For those who don't have their plates yet since last year or earlier, I hope your patience perseveres. By the way, I got the ending that I wanted, same as my conduction sticker, which is coding on Thursdays. Anyway, back to LEDs. A few of this I got from Copperblue as well, but the others I can no longer remember because they were just spares from old purchases. And what you should consider in getting LEDs is the more diodes in a bulb, the better. Okay, since I'm at the rear of the car, we're gonna start here. Yes, the notorious vanity mirror lights are now replaced with cool LEDs. And by the way, my previous episode was all about the DIY fix for this thing, and I highly recommend that you check that out. The link is in the description as well. And that is all there is for now. Thanks for watching. Also check out other videos from Sabbath Clan Philippines and subscribe. See ya on my next vid. Peace out, y'all.